Big Podcast.
You remember back in the day, which I realize is a different decade for some people than others. But if you go far enough back, and this is probably, I don't know, the 80s, 70s, 60s, 50s, people used to send DJs, radio hosts, jocks, letters. In fact, there was a local guy here. They called him the Hoss Man. Hoss Allen, WLAC-AM, coast to coast. Actually, not just coast to coast, but in Canada and also down to Jamaica. That's how powerful this signal was. People would just write, Hoss Man, Nashville, Tennessee, and he would get those letters. Isn't that crazy? That's how popular he was. Anyway, he would get letters. He would read them on the air. I'm going to do the same thing here on this podcast. This is Big Podcast Playbook. Grow your podcast. Build your audience. This podcast is all about growing your podcast, building a bigger podcast, making a podcast people care about, and making a podcast that makes you money. My name is David Hooper. You can find me at bigpodcast.com. And this is a letter episode, just like Casey Kasem used to do. Except it's not a request and dedication. It is a question. Hey, David, thanks for your show. It's the one feed I trust when it comes to separating real strategy from gimmicks. Her name is Rachel Moreno, by the way. Thank you, Rachel. My problem: I host a weekly interview podcast for early stage founders, and while I can get people to sample an episode, almost no one sticks around as a subscriber. My download numbers are a flat line, and I'm seeing a ton of one-and-done listeners who never come back, even when I feature guests they should care about. So much to unpack here. I'm going to look at a couple things that she is doing and get deeper into that. But let me start here. I want to unpack a few things that she said in this intro paragraph. A weekly interview podcast. I feel that weekly is pretty good for most people, especially if you're going to release it the same day each week. They can get in the habit of doing it. She's talking about one and done. I know people go out and get guests that they hope will attract people to their podcast and they'll stick around for other guests. I'm not going to say that's not usually how it works or it usually works another way. I don't know. There's so much at play here. It's hard for me to give you specific advice, Rachel, because I haven't heard the podcast. You're talking about early stage founders. Those guys are hungry, but you could have the best guest in the world, somebody who is getting VC or has sold a company and has advice for early stage founders. But there is an element of, let's call it celebrity, that attracts people, and people want to know kind of what they're getting. Because if I don't, then I'm taking a chance on you. Am I going to like Rachel? That's part of it. Am I going to like the guest? That is also part of it. So you've got this podcast. It's a weekly interview podcast. That's quite a few episodes each year. There's an opportunity for you to build consistency there, but you got to show up every week. There is also the opportunity for you to get somebody who's not that good or release an episode that's not that good, poor edits, not showing up like you should have. You didn't do your research. Maybe the guy was just having a bad day or you're having a bad day. There's a lot that can go wrong. So let's start there. If you're really looking to build an audience, one, from my experience, it takes a minute. And during that time, you have to show up consistently. You have to go in with a performance, a show, production, like you're playing a packed house at Madison Square Garden, even though it's your local venue. A coffee shop with not even a stage in the corner, playing for people that aren't really there for you and aren't paying attention to you. I want to get to the two things that Rachel says that she's tried. She says, I've reworked my titles and thumbnails to be more YouTubey and clicky, which improved first-time plays slightly, but didn't budge follow or completion rates. When she says follow, I'm assuming what she means here is subscription rates. And completion rates, I guess you're looking at Apple Podcast to where you can see, because it's done via the Apple Podcast app, how long people are sticking with you. Titles and thumbnails, I mean, YouTube is a whole different game. Let's dive into that a little bit. Podcasts are not YouTube. I know YouTube says that they have podcasts, but podcasts, in my opinion, RSS feed, they're available everywhere. YouTube videos available on YouTube. There was a study done, I heard this from a friend of mine. She's got a national country music show, morning radio. She's available everywhere. It's arguably the largest, or one of them, definitely a top 5 morning radio show for country music in the country. So this woman knows what she's talking about when it comes to radio and when it comes to getting an audience. I was talking to her about how big networks are bringing in what we'll call influencers, people off of TikTok, people from, we'll call it podcasting, into the fold, hoping that an audience comes with them. And these would be people like Smartless, Call Her Daddy, Conan O'Brien. Could be somebody on like a B level, the Hawk Tuah Girl, Jake Paul. Not really a celebrity in a traditional sense, but an internet, online. He's become pretty popular in the last few years. A pretty big star, I would argue, but it's at a different level than a traditional celebrity like Conan O'Brien. It's not the kind of thing that your grandmother's going to know. Your grandmother probably has heard of Conan O'Brien because of traditional media, and he's been around a lot longer. But anyway, the point being that a lot of networks are going to these guys, Jake Paul, the Hawk Tuah Girl. She was actually on Jake Paul's network because they are hoping that the social media audience follows the influencer to the network. And we're seeing that right now with Netflix, Spotify. Companies are trying to get people off of YouTube or off of social media onto a completely different network. And the rule of thumb, according to my friend Lauren, she says about 3% of people follow. The super fans. You might have heard this number when it comes to how many people are going to donate to your podcast. This is something Jada Boomrad from Radiolab said. About 3% of our listeners donate. Those are what I would call the super fans, the guys who are going to follow you everywhere. But most people, no, they're not going to do that. They're watching you just like the people in the coffee house when you're in the corner of the coffee house, kind of passively, just because they're there. They'll tolerate you, but they're not going to come see you because you're playing there. Your background noise. And this is most of Fox News. This is the reason you have Bill O'Reilly and Tucker Carlson. The other people who have been on Fox News. Megyn Kelly is one of them. She's with SiriusXM now. She's doing okay, but she's not doing what she was doing on Fox News. The reason why Fox News works is because they've got a big antenna. Some people call it a big stick, a big reach. And you got a bunch of people on their couches in 80 million homes, or how many televisions Fox News is piped in on. I see it in airports. I see it in gyms. It's on military bases. It's there. And they tolerate it because they got nothing else to watch. That's what a lot of YouTube is. Podcasts, a completely separate thing. The good news for you, Rachel, is that you have something that I would think early stage founders would be really into if they would know what you're doing. They're desperate to get funding. They're desperate to get people to pay attention to them. They're desperate to know what to do once they have that funding. And if they get it and get something successful, something that might be profitable, a lot of them want to sell out. You got a very good niche and a good idea. It's a matter of reaching those people. And it's not really going to be the algorithm, in my opinion. This is a little more of an advanced audience than the people who are sitting there consuming on YouTube. You can play in traffic. YouTube's got a lot of people there. You're going to get some people there. A friend of mine was talking about, anybody can get 1,000 views on YouTube. And I would say, yeah, that's pretty accurate. What is a view? 6 seconds? Not really worth a lot. But if you just want to count likes and clicks and a little bit of attention, feel good about yourself, you can do that. What it sounds like you want is a little bit more engagement, specifically long-term engagement. Let's look to the second thing that you're talking about. You said, I started posting micro-audiograms and short clips on LinkedIn and Instagram. They get some likes and even a few comments, but I'm not seeing meaningful conversion to regular listeners. It is very difficult to take people from one format to another format. If I go to LinkedIn, I'm going there for a very specific purpose. Sometimes I get distracted by things like micro-audiograms and short clips. Same with Instagram. Instagram, I used to follow my buddies on there. Oh, what's John up to? What's Bill up to? These days I go there, John and Bill aren't showing up. It's things that they think I'm going to like. And sometimes I'll spend a little time on it. I'm like, ooh, what am I doing? All of a sudden I'm in a hole, man. Doom scrolling, completely distracted. John, Bill, I don't know where they are. Hadn't seen them. I've already forgotten about them. I got to get off, get my time back. I'm not going to follow somebody to a different platform. I don't think that this stuff is bad. I think what you probably want to do, if you're looking for early stage founders, is put yourself out there as an authority, and maybe not even an authority, but as a trusted voice of somebody who is communicating with early stage founders. There are two ways to approach what we'll call a nonfiction podcast, a true to life business podcast. One of them is being an expert in the area. You're giving out advice, how to, this is what to do. But the other is, I'm in the community. I'm an expert in that I know which questions to ask, but I'm an expert podcaster, not necessarily a topic expert. I'm not standing on my own delivering this content myself. I'm getting this content out of other people. I don't think it's a bad thing to do. I think your issue is you're trying to take people from one format to another. And that's the two things that you've mentioned, these YouTubey, clicky type of things. I'm assuming you're putting stuff on YouTube. You talked about titles and thumbnails. And then LinkedIn and Instagram, you're doing the same thing there. Arguably playing to the algorithm, playing in traffic, trying to get somebody to, I'm going to assume, is an audio podcast. You're getting them to YouTube, or you're trying to get them from YouTube. A lot of people will do that. They'll have what basically should be, in my opinion, an audio podcast, but they'll make it a talking head video, and they'll say there's a video element. Yeah, there is, but how interesting is that? It's not very interesting. It was neat, the first 10,000 podcasts that did it. Nowadays, this. Oh, split screen? Man, never done that. Nobody wants to watch that. In fact, a lot of YouTube podcasts, they are listened to while people are doing something else. So why even bother? Oh, the algorithm. Well, the algorithm doesn't seem to be working with you. Your better audience is going to be these early stage founders who trust you. And if they trust you, that's where the sponsorship is going to come in, because you've got the listeners that trust you. How do you do that? I think one of the best things that people can do, it stems from what you want, which is a community around your podcast. You don't want just listeners. You don't want just people who are grazing over your feed, giving you that 6 seconds so you get another click on the viewer counter. You want somebody who's really going to engage with you. And for me, if I were going for early stage founders, I would work on live events at places where they have early stage founders. Where I am in Nashville, we've got what they call an entrepreneur center. And these things are almost in every city, it seems to me, every mid-size and definitely the big cities, where people are trying to start businesses and they're learning how to do that through these entrepreneur centers. It could be your local college, even your community college. I would suggest for you that you set up things like maybe a live podcast performance, or maybe a talk, or you go and interview people and record it for the podcast in front of audiences. And it could be at a college class, small audience, but we're talking 20, 30, 60 people, depending on the auditorium style or classroom style of the venue that you're doing this at. Some of these college classes are pretty big. Entrepreneur centers, I did a monthly meeting of podcasters for years at the local entrepreneur center. And it was not uncommon to have 80, 90, 100 people in there. That adds up. It doesn't seem exciting when you're looking at 1,000, 2,000, 3,000 YouTube views. But again, those YouTube views, that could be 6 seconds. When you've got an audience in the room with you, with their friends, so it's a shared experience, and you're not just hitting 1 sense or 2 sense, seeing and hearing. They can see you, hear you, taste you, touch you, smell you. And I'm not saying that as a joke. I'm talking about engaging all senses, which gives this person a 360-degree experience. That is what grows your audience. And to take it back to somebody's brought a friend with them, because people don't go to events alone a lot of times. They can talk about you on the way home. Oh, wasn't that great? Yeah, let's check out the podcast. And they're going to do it together. Or you go to an event like that and you meet other people who are as excited about something as you are. So they've met new friends. Who do they credit? They credit you. You are the center of that meeting. What are they going to do? They're they're going to listen to your podcast. That's the way that I would do it. Is it a little bit more work? Yeah. But you're doing the work anyway. You're doing some work, or you're calling it work. You throw something up on Instagram, LinkedIn, YouTube, and I'm not talking to just you, Rachel. Everybody does this. Throw a book up on Amazon, throw a song up on iTunes, throw a podcast up on Apple Podcast, and feel like it's work. Oh, I published a podcast today. It feels like it's work. It's a facade. I saw somebody, she said, I released an album today. So I didn't know you're a musician. I go to the album. It's AI songs. Let's give you that. You released it, but did you produce it? Did you write it? No, AI did the work. You just made a few clicks, uploaded something. It gives the illusion of work. It's like pretending to have a company but living off of credit cards. Oh, I'm the CEO. Oh, are you? How successful are you? Rachel, if I really did want to find a successful CEO, I would listen to your podcast because I'm assuming those are the type of people that you're talking to, but in a way that's specifically for early stage founders. I hope this has helped you. Actually, I looked at the last thing that you wrote. You said, thanks for any tough love guidance you can share. So perfect. I was thinking about it as I was talking. Man, I hope I'm not being too mean to Rachel. But this is great, Rachel. I love getting letters like this. I want this podcast, the newsletter that I've got, books that I write, everything else that I've got to be helpful to people. And that goes back to what I said just a minute ago. We can do something, publish a book, a podcast, a blog post, call it work, but if it doesn't land, does it matter? Does it make a sound? Does it make impact? Does it change the world? That's the power of podcasting. That's one of the things that I love about it. I can be in my 5x8 tricked out closet and reach just as many people as I could in a broadcast radio studio. But you got to have the right content. Hopefully you got some stuff that's going to help you. If you want to work with me personally, this is how to do it. bigpodcast.com/AMP. That's bigpodcast.com/AMP. It stands for Audio Monetization Program. Go there. You got all the details. This is the best way to work with me if you're an independent podcaster. And independent podcasters are who I love to work with. I do a lot of stuff for corporations. I produce a daily nationwide radio show. So I'm in that world, but I'm also in the independent world. I like working with people who've got $1 and stretching it out to make it 10, not the guys who just want to throw money at people. When you take that $1, you make it 10, you feel alive, baby. You want to feel alive? bigpodcast.com/AMP, bigpodcast.com/AMP. You want to get more from me on this podcast? Well, that's free. And this is how to subscribe. Some of the kids call it follow. bigpodcast.com/subscribe. If you go there, I make it easy for you to get every single episode that I do with just one click. I've got an iPhone button, an Android button, an old-fashioned RSS feed button. It's all there at bigpodcast.com/subscribe. Do it now before you forget, and I will see you on the next episode of Big Podcast Playbook. See you then.